The final Stranger Things Season 4 trailer has just dropped, and I'm not gonna lie here guys, the final 2 episodes of the season are looking really dark, but also amazing. But before I dive into the nitty-gritty details in this breakdown video, remember to leave a like and a comment, and most importantly, subscribe for more content like this. And without further ado, here we go. So the trailer starts off with a scene that's been shown to us a few times in other trailers, namely of Dr. Brenner lightly touching the crack in the wall after Eleven banished Henry to the Upside Down. Now I can't pinpoint exactly what's going on here, but I would take a guess that this is where Dr. Brenner's obsession with Eleven truly starts. Next up we see a better view of the scene where Max is back in Vecna's hellscape, which also ties into something else later in the trailer. We get a new shot that we haven't seen in other trailers yet, where we see the Hawkins gang sitting in a trailer as the camera pans around. Thankfully, all of them are still alive, that being Nancy, Steve, Erica, Robin, Eddie, Dustin, Lucas, and Max. The looks on their faces suggest that something really bad has happened, but they could also be on their way to face Vecna, as we also see Eddie gripping a stick tightly, looking like he's ready for a fight. At the same time, Dr. Brenner is talking to Eleven as he says that her friends aren't ready for what's about to happen. Here we also see Max with her headphones on, as she's probably listening to Running Up That Hill. Anyway, like other trailers, we see Eleven walking away as we can assume that she's about to make her way to Hawkins. Again, we get a better look at Nancy inside a lab with Vecna menacingly walking towards her. Again, this is probably early in the episode as she's trying to snap out of the trance he's put her in. We then get a shot of Will telling Mike that he will not stop until he's taken everyone. Now most would probably assume that he's speaking of Vecna, but considering his first base contact with the Mind Flayer, who's the ultimate overarching villain, I'd say that Will is probably talking about him and not Vecna. This also reinforces that the Mind Flayer wants to take over the entire planet and not just some folks from Hawkins. We then see Max reaching for her Walkman and turns it on. And I would assume that this is where she willingly goes to Vecna in order to fool him. Now I find it very interesting that we see the upside down perspective where Henry was falling in episode 7. So the question is if we'll be seeing a flashback of when Henry actually became Vecna here, possibly by the Mind Flayer transforming him. We see Eddie taking down what seems to be his guitar from a wall in the upside down. And he looks badass as hell as he throws it behind his shoulder. Steve is then shown dropping down into the upside down from our reality. But this time he's had a change of clothes and he doesn't really look injured anymore, which could suggest that some time has passed after the gang gets out of the Upside Down. We then again get a better look of the Mind Flayer being imprisoned in Russia, and to the left and to the right we can see what looks like temperature regulators. So we can assume that this is what weakens the Mind Flayer. Cue another shot of Robin, Nancy, and Steve walking towards what's probably the Creel house. We then see Will hugging his brother Jonathan again, but this time in better quality as well. A new shot is shown where Robin tells Steve that she's unsure whether things will work out. Then the scene shifts and we see Max getting out of the van during sunset as she then stands with Erica and Lucas outside the Creel house. We can also see Max's Walkman strapped to her waist here, and it's pretty clear to me that this is when the Hawkins gang starts off with their plan to possibly trap Vecna. We now get a shot of several soldiers grabbing rifles in a panic, and then the shot of American soldiers shooting at something. These are probably not the same soldiers though, as the first ones here have different uniforms and helmets. So maybe this is a flashback? Anyway, Eleven looks like she's receiving either oxygen or something else in this scene right here, but the question remains to why. While this is happening, we hear Vecna talking to someone, stating that everything is over and he just wants whoever he's talking to watch.
It is over. Now I just want you to watch.
The person he's talking to could be either Max, Nancy, or Eleven here in my opinion, as they've all engaged with Vecna directly so far. Whatever it is that he wants them to watch though is hard to specify. We get a shot of Steve going inside what looks like the Creel house again in the Upside Down together with Nancy and Robin, and we again get a better shot of Dustin and Eddie backing away from something as they're escaping to our reality. Then we see a new shot of a demo dog escaping from a containment chamber, with Hopper shooting at either it or something else as he runs away. We then get a shot of seemingly 2 Russian soldiers aiming at the Demogorgon and judging at how close it is to them, we could assume that they're pretty done for. The scene shifts to the fight between Lucas and Jason, and we see Lucas getting some good hits in. Nancy again fires at something, probably Vecna's vines, and then we see Vecna walking down some stairs all menacingly.
He's just standing there. Menacingly!
We cut to the scene where Steve and Nancy are trying to free Robin from Vecna's vines, and then Murray firing his flamethrower like a madman. Now here comes probably the most interesting part of the trailer for me, as here we see 11 standing on a bridge that seems to be overlooking Hawkins. And what do we see here? Well, if it isn't the Mind Flayer, of course. Or, well, we see the dark clouds and the red thundering lightning, which is his signature look. This shot is especially exciting because we can see that this isn't the upside down, which means that the Mind Flayer must have gained considerable power if he can actually grow this large in our reality. We then again see Eddie rocking it out with his guitar again, a quick shot of Vecna's hellscape with Max looking like she's about to get a nice massage, Hopper with the sword, which looks absolutely badass by the way, 11 freaking out again in the lab, and Lucas looking absolutely horrified. And might I add that I think this is where Vecna is going to turn Jason into a nice wall ornament, since it's the same blue color in the scene as when they're fighting. Anyway, we see the Russian squad firing their AKs at something, the US military looking for 11, Dr. Brenner seemingly saving 11 from said US military, and a better version of Dustin screaming at something. Now in this version you can actually hear him, and it definitely sounds like he's shouting, "Eddie." So I would assume that this is when Eddie is absolutely shredding his guitar, as probably a horde of Demobats are approaching him. We again get some old shots of 11 exploding the military, Vecna giving someone the old Kraken pop, and 11 screaming at the camera like she always does. Now again, this trailer has really started to put some things together, and while there is a definite risk that we might see some of our favorite characters dying during the final 2 episodes of Season 4, I actually think that the townspeople of Hawkins is in much bigger danger, considering that we're seeing the Mind Flayer in seemingly his full power but in our world. The Duffer Brothers themselves even said that these 2 final episodes will have a lot of carnage. This is gonna get dark, people, but man am I excited. Anyway, leave those thoughts down below. And as always, have a great day.